Michael J. with the opinion from the Whig Tory. So, we're going to discuss the major topic of today's video. Pierre Poilievre, Daniell Smith, are they traitors? Who would have thunk? Here, we've gone from 2 weeks ago, the liberals torpedoing the country. Everything's going in the crapper. And now here we are. The major topic of conversation is Pierre Poilievre and Daniell Smith selling out the Canadian country. They're just waiting to get into power to sell out Canada to Donald Trump and the United States. Can you believe it? With the help of Jordan Peterson and another guy by the name of Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. Well, we got a message for you. Trump, you can keep Kevin O'Leary and you can keep Jordan Peterson. What do they do for us anyway? All they do is complain. Complain. Kevin O'Leary, his God is the dollar. There's money. Doesn't care who it hurts, who it benefits. Yeah, who it benefits is important, as long as he benefits. Simple as that. So now we're going to go to the main screen. Going to bring up Steve Boots, school teacher from Saskatchewan. Let's put together a nice little video here. Front and center with Pierre Poilievre. Axe the tax. What is it with this guy? No matter how many Halloween parties he goes to, it's like the Green Goblin. He just comes back with 2 tricks in his bag. Axe the tax. We're going to give you tax breaks. And then number 2, free markets. Yikes, look what free markets did for you. 1-bedroom apartment in Toronto, $2,400 a month. That's what a conservative government did. Deregulate, free markets. Take away rent controls. Let corporate entities buy up all the rental housing. And what do you get? $2,400 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. And we're not talking about the Tony neighborhood 1-bedroom apartment. That's even more. It just gets worse, folks. So let's listen to Mr. Pierre Poilievre. Yikes. That button didn't work.
The obviously sick Pierre Poilievre. Dude put down the chicken soup to complain about the carbon tax, and the dedication is impressive. We talk about the liberal leadership race and how exciting and inspiring it is. You get to decide between a rich person in a suit or a rich person in a pantsuit.
Yikes.
What a thrill. We talk about how the provinces are failing on health.
I prefer the pantsuit.
I know you think it's bad, but
on a
good
personal
news,
basis,
it's also
nothing
much
to do
more
with
expensive
politics,
because
folks.
it's bad. We talk about Doug Ford's new energy efficiency rebate and how he even manages to ruin a good idea. We
Good
talk
old
about the
Doug
price of meat
Ford.
at Loblaws, or as Galen Weston calls it, flesh. Dude just really insists on calling it the flesh section. Makes
Nice.
everybody uncomfortable in meetings. And we talk about how populists campaign versus how they govern. Because Donald Trump has stopped talking about grocery.
This is what we want, the populist angle. The populist angle. Here we have in the United States now a nationalist socialist, Donald Trump. Imperialistic tendencies. A playbook taken from 1930s Germany. Everything is the exact same. A Supreme Court that's acquiesced in ways that's never been needed in the history of the Republic of the United States, which has given Trump and his National Socialistic Party a leapfrog up on any advantage that 1933 European country had. Mein Kampf? Good golly, Mr. Mully, the slogan king. Oh, and then I forgot. Charlie Angus came up with a great name for this one guy. Elon Muskollini. You gotta love it. It just keeps getting better and better. And then we've got Elon Muskollini, who's manipulating supposedly the richest guy in the world. What is it with these rich people? Like, does the average guy not understand what's going on? That you kowtow and you look up to these rich people? They're going to just scorch the earth. They don't care about you, and then they'll build a spaceship and go to friggin' Mars. Meanwhile, this planet was designed for you on a biological basis, provides everything you would ever need, and all these guys are doing is, through greed. Greed? Yeah. Can you imagine that greed? Can you imagine that greed? And manipulation of the money changers. Ooh, that's got a biblical ring to it, doesn't it? So what are you going to do? Let's look at the facts here.
Prices pretty much entirely. All this and more as we ask the big question on
all this and more. What the hell, Canada? What the hell are USA? Damn. Oh. So Elon Muskollini, Trump, Putin, Kabal. It just gets more and more exciting as as we go through the pages of this novel. It's like looking at a 24-frame movie, just one frame at a time. And Pierre Poilievre and Miss Smith of Alberta just waiting for this opportunity to just sell out Canada. Bunch of traitors. That's the bottom line. Bunch of traitors. No less, no more.
This week I want to start with a look at Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, because he is truly dreadful. He has been desperate to capture the media cycle in the wake of Justin Trudeau's resignation, but there's one snag. He is very obviously sick. On the day Trudeau resigned, he gave his only statement via a video recorded from his home in which he was looking pretty gray. Well, on Thursday, he gave an in-person press conference where he was still pretty obviously sick and just forced the media to sit a long way away from him.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Probably fine. Worth noting, they very
The hazmat team was waiting in the wings, so don't worry. Everything's under control.
obviously caked makeup on him because they missed an entire segment of his face. This world-class stuff here. And I want to take some time to go through what he said in this press conference because it is honestly horrifying. So he essentially gave a 10-minute speech about how everything in Canada is collapsing, where he listed endless slogans, complained and blamed. Worth noting that half the issues he complains about are provincial, but he never once mentions the premiers, particularly the Conservative ones. He complained about wokeness while never offering any sort of answer to what is woke.
Wokeism. This is the new. So we've gone from QAnon, which was a Russian a Russian manifestation, which became the big thing in the United States, QAnon. And now we've gone to wokeism. And wokeism's a 1930s slogan regarding slavery in the United States. Now, here's the deal, folks. Wokeism. Let's put it in very, very simple terms. Do you want to be a sheep that's just following the herd because this is the way Pierre Poilievre and this Miss Smith want you people to go? Just follow the sheep herder? Kevin O'Leary? Donald Trump? That are just going to scorch the earth along with Elon Muskollini? Oh, I like the tinge of that. Elon Muskollini. Charlie Angus, you are great for bringing that one to the forefront. Gotta love you for that. Now let's watch this.
9 years of NDP Liberal, radical woke catch and...
Radical woke. So here's the stages of the biorhythms of a human being. Sleep, wake, woke. Very simple, folks. Sleep, wake, woke. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be woke or do you want to be asleep? So here's the danger. They're using wokeism as a tool, just like racism, to create division and bring you down. Simple as that. Mr. Slogans, 2 tricks in his goblin bag of Halloween goodies, tax cuts, and free markets. Look what the free markets have done. 1-bedroom apartment over $2,400 and not even in the toniest neighborhoods of Toronto or Vancouver. Good golly, Miss Molly, where have we degenerated to? To what have we allowed ourselves to be manipulated by these maladies that are being forced upon us in an oppressive and suppressive manner that denies us the free will to exercise our free will to rights and freedoms and to live a good, prosperous life? These guys want to do pain and suffering. And they've got you convinced you got to buy into that. Oh, you've got to have pain and suffering. It's the only way you're going to get out of this. You got to have pain and suffering. Like, come on, people, have you not had enough pain and suffering? Is it not enough to put your foot down and say, I don't want that anymore? I want to love my family. I want to love my community. I want to love the people around me and everybody else so we can live a good, fruitful, eventful, and loving life without pain and suffering. It's just utter nonsense.
Release criminal justice policies.
It appears just anything he doesn't like is woke, and there's really no full explanation for it. Like Justin Trudeau fills his cabinet with women? That's woke. Pierre Poilievre's deputy leader is a woman? Not woke. Why? Who's to say? There's really no explanation, and he made up so much stuff. First up, in this clip, he's going to claim that Justin Trudeau was rejected and fired.
We have a lame duck prime minister, rejected and fired by his own caucus.
Which, quick question,
I think
if
he
someone's
resigned.
Fired, how do they resign? Like, he didn't stand in front of Rideau College and announce he was fired, he resigned. At least call it what it is. And lying to the public is something that Poilievre does a lot. Like this point in the speech where he constructs something called a straw man. So if you're not familiar, the idea of a strongman is that you make up a position, assign it to your political opponent, and then attack that much easier to attack position, rather than talking about something real. You just sort of say, my opponent's saying this, vaguely, with no evidence to support it. Just listen.
They say he's doing a great job. It's just that Canadians unfairly don't like him anymore. And that unpopularity threatens their power, paychecks, and pension.
Yeah, so nobody actually said that. But the issue that the Conservatives are going to face over the next election is that all of their attacks were based around Justin Trudeau. And now that Trudeau's gone, Pierre Poilievre seems to be trying to convince people that the Liberal Party are just reenacting the movie Face Off, but instead of John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, it's going to be Justin Trudeau and whoever wins the Liberal leadership race.
The Liberal MPs want to elect another Justin Trudeau who has a different face.
They'll just emerge around a corner, dual-wielding pistols, surrounded by doves. Man, I miss John Woo. And he wants you to think it's the carbon tax. Everything is the carbon tax. Everyone is the carbon tax. The carbon tax is inseparable from the Liberals. To be liberal is to be carbon tax. Just listen to Poilievre.
Whether his name is Justin Trudeau, or his name is Chrystia Freeland, or Carbon Tax Carney, or Carbon Tax Clark.
Or Carbon Tax Carney. You gotta love this. Now you understand why Elon Muskollini and Pierre Poilievre will be right there with you, Elon. And Daniell Smith, I'm right behind you all. Let us sell out Canada to the U.S. Axe the tax. We get rid of the carbon tax, you're going to get rich overnight. Yikes. Is that a possibility? No. Another false bag of friggin' tricks. Nothing there of substance whatsoever.
They will all be Justin Trudeau.
He goes after everybody, calls everybody carbon tax their last name. Except Christy Clark, who he decided was queen of the carbon tax. Just listen.
And then there's Carbon Tax Clark.
Oh my.
She's the queen of the carbon tax.
As if she is singularly obsessed with the carbon tax, even though she said she wants to get rid of it. The one who's obsessed with the carbon tax is Pierre.
So now he wants to get rid of the carbon tax, wants to hook up with scorch the earth Kevin O'Leary and Donald Trump, Daniell Smith, so that here's the deal. California, you got the Republican Party. Oh, we're going to help with this fiasco and bail out California, but there's going to be strings attached to it. What about Jasper? Look at the scorched earth effect from climate change you had in Jasper. All of a sudden, to help out, there's going to be strings attached from Pierre Poilievre government. Like, come on now, folks. When are you going to finally wake up? 3 states of the human being: sleep, wake, and woke. So what do you want to be? A constant state of sleep? Look where it's got you. These guys are going to friggin' put fear into you. Pierre Poilievre, Daniell Smith. Meanwhile, we finally got a unified response to the Trump tariffs that are going to be upcoming. And who are the people that are sabotaging it? Daniell Smith from Alberta and Pierre Poilievre. Poilievre hasn't backed up Canada. He's just slagging Canada. Conservative government. Conservative governments have created the problem locally. So if you got crime problems, that's a local problem. Conservative government. Housing problem, that's a local problem. Conservative government. Signs are all there in front of you, folks. You just got to look up, pay attention. And you're not paying attention if you're in a state of anxiety. Trust me on that.
Pierre Poilievre, he had a big axe the tax sign on the front of his lectern. Like, he focused on axing the tax as Los Angeles is actively burning down. It is unbelievably insensitive. Those fires are the direct consequences of climate change. And he tells some whopper lies about the carbon tax. My personal favorite, he's going to claim that the carbon tax is going to go up to 65 cents a liter on gas on April 1st. That is not even remotely close to true. In reality, the carbon tax is going to rise by 3 cents a liter, roughly. And that's only on gas in provinces that don't have their own provincial program and just use the federal backstop. Just listen to this claim.
Government that is threatening even more devastating tariffs on Canada in the form of a carbon tax that will rise to 61 cents a liter.
So that is absolutely not true at all. Not even close. At present, you pay about 17 cents a liter on carbon tax. In April, it's going to go up to about 20 cents a liter. But he's not going to let the truth get in the way of a good story, obviously. And he's going to claim that he's going to massively reduce taxes, which is going to massively reduce revenues to the Canadian government. But he also talks about massively expanding the military. So where's the money going to come from? Because he also says he's going to balance the budget. It's just magical thinking. He's going to get elected, and he's going to insist that it's somehow much worse than he imagined, and he's going to need to run deficits indefinitely and get economic carte blanche in order to clean up Justin Trudeau's mess.
Yeah, typical Trump-Putin playbook. I guess he got a copy of the Trump-Putin playbook. Pierre Poilievre. That's what Pierre Poilievre and Daniell Smith are operating off of the Trump-Putin playbook.
Somehow he's going to have a whole new understanding of the economy the moment he...
With a new cast of characters, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and Jordan B. Peterson. A guy that's been chastised by a professional organization that oversees his professional degree, which is a provincial thing. He blames the federal government for it. But meanwhile, it's a provincial government thing that is conservative. So, go figure. You got to love it.
He enters office. And then he talked about engaging with our economic allies on the ground. Just listen.
Second, we need a prime minister who can make the case to our economic allies on the ground in America.
He seems to particularly think that unions like him, which they don't. But regardless, he doesn't actually explain who those economic allies are. And when he was asked whether or not he'd spoken to anybody directly or whether he'd done literally anything at all to try to help, this was his response.
Look, I'm not Prime Minister.
Look, I'm not Prime Minister. Oh, not me. I keep pointing fingers, blaming everybody. And you're looking at me for an answer? I'm not Prime Minister. It's like the Jordan Peterson interview. Well, how are you going to do it? I'm not going to tell you. Like, how do you think this buffoon is going to get you out of the problems that are existing? Problems that are existing as a result of the worst pandemic in 100 years created an inflation boondoggle that's unprecedented worldwide. Has created this far-right shift in people's ways of thinking. Even a guy like Sleepy Joe Biden, who's done a absolutely remarkable job of bringing his country back from the abyss of inflation hell. And he gets kicked to the curb, and they bring back the guy that created the problem, Donald J. Trump. So really what's happened is the electorate, because middle class has been wiped out, Canada, USA, the electorate is, I hate to say it, immature. All they want is somebody to just friggin' take a bazooka to everything. They don't care about cause and effect. And then they start caring about it because they got the guy in power now and it's going to hurt them. The roundups are going to happen. Back to the shoe.
Then when he was talking about his plans for the tech sector, he talked about how Google and Meta are building their own power supplies, creating power plants in order to power their AI energy demands. And this is what Pierre Poilievre had to say.
Meta, Google, Microsoft are all buying or refurbishing their own nuclear plants to power their data centers. We can do it for them here in Canada.
That's right. Mark Zuckerberg, the billionaire?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Kevin O'Leary meets with, does a video one-up with this guy Brian Lilly of the Toronto Sun. I got the money. I met with Donald Trump and Daniell Smith. And we're going to come up with $70 billion. You know, which is actually probably a good thing to remake Alberta and get Alberta away from fossil fuels. But no, they want to use the fossil fuels to just friggin' increase the fires in Jasper, I guess. Who knows? You know, like, guys will do anything for a buck. They don't care who it hurts, as long as they get the dollar. That's all it is. Friggin' almighty dollar.
We can do it for him. Good for us. Free money for billionaires. Awesome. He also wanted to high-five John A. Macdonald. He talked about him very eagerly. Just listen.
We need to live out the dream that started with John A. Macdonald. Yes, I said John A. Macdonald, who believed in an independent and sovereign Canada.
Here we go,
then he
back
talked about
in
him as
time
a
again.
hero. So I just want to take a moment to remind you of some of John A. Macdonald's more notable quotations. Quote, "When the school is on a reserve, the child lives with its parents who are savages. And though he may learn to read and write, his habits and training mode of thought are Indian. He is simply a savage who can read and write. It has been strongly impressed upon myself as the head of the department, Indian children should be withdrawn as much as possible from parental influence, and the only way to do that would be to put them in central training industrial schools where they will acquire the habits and modes of thought of white men. Or how about, I want to get rid of the Indian problem. Our objective is to continue until there is not an Indian that has not been absorbed into the body politic, and there is no Indian question and no Indian department. Or how about this? It has always been clear to me that Indians must have some sort of recreation. And if our agents would endeavor to substitute reasonable amusements for this senseless drumming and dancing, it would be a great assistance." Yeah, that's who Pierre Poilievre wants us to celebrate as a hero. Interesting. Seems like he...
Oh, and then here he comes up with a nation builder, He brought Canada together through Confederation and the Canadian Pacific Railway. Well, Confederation was put together. George Brown brought MacDonald together with Cartier under the watchful eye of Queen Victoria to create Bytown. Kingston used to be where the head of Canada was. And then they created Bytown. So he's saying that, MacDonald did. No, MacDonald was a friggin' drunk most of the time, number one. George Brown with Cartier and with the help of Queen Victoria put together, and they figured, well, John A. MacDonald will be the figurehead in order to be able to do this, and this is how that came into play. And then he brought Canada together through Confederation and the Canadian Pacific Railway. This is what you do not hear, Canadian Pacific Railway. And I'm going to tell you a historical fact. MacDonald's office caught fire. And while they're going through the rubble of the fire, they found out that the guy that got the contract for Canadian Pacific Railway from the Canadian government through MacDonald was making payoffs to John A. MacDonald. So MacDonald had to leave Canada. This is a trend if you look back into history between Canada and the U.S. MacDonald had to leave Canada for 5 years. This is what the penalty was, 5-year exodus. And they go to the United States, hook up with their Empire Loyalist buddies. What? Empire Loyalist buddies? Yeah. So, this is the dirty on John A. MacDonald. Canadian Pacific Railway, he was taking bribes to give the contract to the guy that laying a foundation for a strong and prosperous country. Right on. When he's financially benefiting by it. Gotcha.
He's really laying out some personal beliefs there. He also called for a massive expansion of oil and gas production, which raises the obvious question of who are we going to sell it to? The United States is going to put huge tariffs on our oil. The European Union is actively reducing its oil and gas use. So who? China? Russia? Does Pierre Poilievre think he's actually going to build a massive expansion of Canadian oil and gas and find buyers? But more than that, the primary thing restricting the expansion of oil and gas in Canada right now isn't government regulation, it's a lack of the market case to do so. The only way that Canadian oil and gas can justify expanding is through massive government subsidies. But Pierre Poilievre is going to leave that detail out. But then he was asked about something that I really want to highlight here. The endorsement that he received from Elon Musk. You know, the guy who wants you to think of Tesla, but I want you to think of Neuralink. You know, the company that's tormenting monkeys. We can also think of the Boring Company, which failed to dig holes. Or we can talk about how Tesla is potentially one of the most overvalued companies in the world. They have one of the highest price-to-earning ratios of any company in the world, and it's because a lot of that value is based on speculation around future growth, even though their growth is slowing down, but that's a conversation for another day. But then Pierre Poilievre said something very interesting. And listen to this.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were producing more without corporate welfare, without corporate subsidies like the Liberals favor?
He seems to think that Tesla exists without government subsidies, which is completely ridiculous because initially one of the main ways that Tesla was able to get its foothold in the market was by selling carbon offsets. Last year they received $1.7 billion of revenue from carbon credits, which is government funding. That's a government subsidy that they get because of their environmental policies. But that subsidy doesn't count, obviously. But you could also think of SpaceX, which is enormously funded through government subsidies. But we're going to ignore that, too. They exist without subsidies, except for the subsidies, obviously. And this is why I really want to highlight this press conference, because Pierre Poilievre is absolutely full of it. He just makes stuff up. He distorts reality, he openly lies to the public and the media, and he just rails off slogans and does word association nonstop. Really, the entire act of listening to one of his press conferences is like
Be a large sucking sound.
A large sucking sound. Holy moly. So we're back. I'm back. So, that's the deal. Traitors. Now what are you saying? Traitors? Is that possible? Is that possible? There you go. Well, the Prime Minister of Canada is getting together with all the premiers in Ontario to create a unified response to what is a threat to the Canadian country. Danielle Smith is spending her time on vacation at Mar-a-Lago, rubbing shoulders with Kevin O'Leary and Jordan Peterson at the home of Donald Trump. So here is the evidence. Like, it's unbelievable. And then another thing she comes up with, a statement. I got to find that statement. We've got to get that. Let's get that statement. I got to find that statement. It's got to be here somewhere. Where the heck is it? Where art thou? Where, oh, where art thou? Oh, baby, here it comes. Mr. Steve Boots, you provide such great material. Love you, buddy. Love your team. Okay. Watch this.
The government of Alberta did not
Wrong button.
approve the joint statement between the government of Canada.
Okay, so as I said, we just looked at a picture. Danielle Smith is down there at Mar-a-Lago. Instead of being at the First Minister's meeting here in Canada working out a plan, Pierre Poilievre is dissing everything because he's aligned with Danielle Smith. They just want to sell out Canada for their benefit and make themselves look good. So the government of Alberta did not approve the joint statement between the government of Canada and the Council of the Federation, which is all the premiers across Canada, which is neighboring provinces of Alberta, too. You know, come on now.
And the Council of the Federation. Danielle Smith refused to endorse this message. Why? Well, she posted a big picture of a merged...
Look at this. There you go. Coat of arms of the Premier of Alberta, bottom left-hand corner, Danielle Smith. Can you believe it? Full statement. No Ottawa tariffs on Alberta energy exports. She's doing side deals. Pierre Poilievre is very much aware of the side deals. He's not saying anything. And they're doing side deals. Leave Canada out to dry.
Canadian and U.S. flag, which... what the hell? But also, she said, quote, Alberta will simply not agree to export tariffs on our energy or other products, nor do we support a ban on exports of these same products. We will take whatever actions are needed to protect the livelihoods of Albertans from such destructive federal policies. We also encourage our entire nation to use this tariff threat as an opportunity to correct the misguided direction of this country and commence multiple infrastructure projects that focus on developing, upgrading, and exporting our oil, gas, and other natural resources.
So there you go, folks. Danielle Smith, Alberta Premier, Pierre Poilievre have one mission: to sell out Canada. The question is, are you going to support traitors like Pierre Poilievre and Danielle Smith? Or are you going to get behind Canada and we start building things up the way they should be in a proper way that benefits all Canadians, get rid of this pain and suffering, and create heaven on earth? Let go of this pain and suffering. It serves no one. It serves absolutely no one whatsoever. So I'd like to end with that, folks. You know what they say? My two little buddies, when anxiety takes a hold of you, just close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, just relax more. Let go of the pain and suffering they're trying to convince you have to go through in order to recover. No need for pain and suffering. You can have a good, prosperous life that's uplifting for everybody. Let go of the pain and suffering. Let's go for heaven on earth and create what we need to make a good environment for everybody. And don't let these traitors manipulate you. As Charlie Angus said, Elon Muskollini, let's put tariffs on Tesla in Canada. We don't need Tesla. All these people are doing is just scorching the earth for the almighty dollar. They don't care about your life. They don't care about your children's life. They don't care the children of your children. All they care about is what they can get for themselves now. They don't care about anybody else. Except for the almighty dollar is more important than the life of a human being. So when you're getting down, you don't feel like you're spiraling down and things aren't looking good, take a deep breath. Do what my two buddies do. Sending love and peace to everybody. Take care. Until the next time, love and peace to everyone. Talk to you all soon.